Today, we are going to be going over all of the 3DS games that I have on my list here and deciding whether or not they are going to make their way over to the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch successor. We're going to be doing this by saying, is this game likely or unlikely to make it to the Switch or the Switch 2? And I am not going to be going in the middle on any of these. I'm going to be deciding one or the other for every single game that I talk about. Is it likely or is it unlikely? Let's get into it. Starting off, we're going to go with the Zelda series that are on the 3DS. And the first one is A Link Between Worlds. And I am going to say this game is unlikely to come to the Switch or the Switch 2. And that is because of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom coming out in September. I really seriously doubt that after going almost a decade without a new 2D Zelda game, they would all of a sudden turn around and start releasing them back to back, remakes, new games, etc. A Link Between Worlds is one of the best Zelda games ever made in the 2D genre, and everybody loves it, but nope, not happening on the Switch. The next two I'm going to combine here, the Ocarina of Time 3D game and Majora's Mask 3D. Now, I think it is entirely possible that these games will come over to the Switch successor at some point, but do I think that they're going to be in the form of a 3DS port? I really doubt that. I'm going to say that these games are unlikely to come over to the Switch 2, and it's because of how iconic they absolutely are. Ocarina of Time is one of the highest rated games of all time, and of course Majora's Mask is a fan favorite. Everybody loves Majora's Mask. So if they're going to put these games on the Switch 2, I think they're going to do it in the form of a full 3D remake for the handheld hybrid console that is the Switch 2, not a rendition of the 3DS port. Next up is Triforce Heroes. I entirely doubt, I'm just going to say right now, unlikely. It is unlikely that this game comes to Switch, especially considering the NSO game this launched from the GameCube, I believe. It was Four Swords Heroes Adventures or something like that. I think it's entirely unlikely this game comes onto the Switch. And then the last one was Hyrule Warriors, which we actually already got on the Switch. It was a different game release with the Wii U version and the 3DS version combined, similar to how later on we'll talk about Donkey Kong, but very similar to that. Next up is a very interesting one I think is worth discussing at least. I'm sure a lot of people will say, oh no, it's not worth discussing at all, but I actually do think it's interesting. So Animal Crossing New Leaf is a very intriguing choice here, because New Horizons is the best-selling game in the series for the Animal Crossing game, and it's sold insanely well. Like, it outsold every other game in the series combined. Nintendo is going to want to keep moving in that direction, probably not in the New Leaf direction, but the thing is that everybody that I have really ever talked to from the Animal Crossing community, most people say that New Leaf was a better game than New Horizons, which I don't know. I personally stand that New Horizons was a really good game, and I haven't played any of the other Animal Crossing games, but New Leaf, I think, is a definite maybe. In my mind, I'm going to have to go with unlikely, because I think that Nintendo is going to want to just release a new game entirely and not have to worry about the old content coming out. Because the same way that they did it for Happy Home Designer and putting that as DLC for New Horizons, I think if they want to put any of the features from New Leaf into the new Animal Crossing game, they'll just port those features over into a brand new installment and try to get even more money from a New Horizons type game. And just for sake of discussion, Happy Home Designer is not getting a port to the Switch or Switch 2. They already did that with the DLC in New Horizons. I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who says, you didn't talk about it. Yeah, I did. It's unlikely because it's impossible. It's not happening. They're not putting this game on the Switch. Next up is Mario Kart 7. I think there's actually an argument to be made here that they would want to put on another new game from the franchise onto the system and not have to worry about a new installment, but come on. They are not going to put Mario Kart 7 on the Switch 2. They're going to have to make a new installment. It's been over 10 years since Mario Kart 8 came out initially on the Wii U, and they made Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch, and that has sold incredibly well, over 60 million copies. It's actually outsold the NES. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game has outsold the NES all on its own. So yes, they definitely want to put their resources into a new game that's Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 10, depending on whether or not you think Tour is a mainline game. They certainly are not putting Mario Kart 7 on the next console. It is unlikely. Now, here are some really interesting ones. There were a couple of different Pokemon games that were released onto the 3DS. One being Sun and Moon, which I actually wonder if they have a pretty good chance of getting a remake. Now, I doubt that because it seems that the Pokemon Company has been going in the direction of taking it from oldest to newest in terms of remakes. I know the most recent ones were Shining Diamond and Brilliant Radius Pearl. I don't know, something dumb like that. But those games, I think, were an indication of how they are just going to try to squeeze as much money out of this franchise as possible. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were to upscale Sun and Moon and put it on the Switch too. But I'm still just going to have to go with unlikely on this one. They're moving in a different direction these days. They're putting out a lot more new games than they used to. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the future of Pokemon actually is, especially after the success of Arceus and that entire open world thing. We still don't know what Pokemon ZA is about, but that is going to be very interesting. And nope, Sun and Moon not happening. Alright, we've had a lot of unlikelies back to back to back, so let me give you a likely. Actually, how about I give you 3 likelies in a row? Kirby Planet Robobot. This game, I remember even as a Nintendo fan growing up that didn't have access to the internet or anything like that yet, I remembered seeing commercials about Planet Robobot and thinking that this was the coolest game ever. And so many people love this game. I know that Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out recently and they're probably going to move in the 3D direction. So it would be really, really cool if they could remake this game and put it on the Switch too, because a lot of people love it. It's a classic, and I'm confident that they're going to put it on the Switch too. So I'm going to say this remake is very, very likely. Okay, I have been beating on this drum for a long time. I am telling you right now, Kid Icarus Uprising is very, very likely to be coming to the Switch too. And I know, everyone's been saying that for years and years. Kid Icarus Uprising, it's gonna come on the Switch, guys, we promise. And then it didn't. I get that. But Sakurai, this is his baby. I mean, Kirby is technically his baby, and Smash Bros. Is his main focus. But come on, Kid Icarus Uprising it's just right up his alley. I'm sure he's gonna get this a new remake. He's gonna get it on the Switch too. Everyone's gonna love it. It was a great game. I can't imagine a world where they don't do that. They have to bring this series back, so it is very likely. Oh boy, here is another one I think is very, very likely to make its way over to the Switch too. Metroid Samus Returns. Nintendo, please put this game on the Switch too. It would sell so much better than it did on the 3DS. You put that game on that console in 2017 in the midst of the Switch hype, and no one bought it on the 3DS, and you gave the story and the franchise another chance with Metroid Dread, and it did really, really well. And then Metroid Prime Remastered did amazing. Samus Returns has got to come over to the Switch. I think it is incredibly likely that they do that, and probably add a couple of quality of life features to it as well, because there were a lot of criticisms from that game and how it played and the different things that they kind of locked behind amiibo functionality. And I just know everyone would go crazy for them to release that game and the amiibo alongside of it, especially that squishy Metroid amiibo. I have yet to get that because it is so rare. So yes, Nintendo, it is very, very likely, and I hope y'all do it soon. Okay, so y'all, I have receipts. Go back to my predictions video for the Nintendo Direct, and I said that I had been thinking for a while about making this video about what 3DS games were likely to come over to the Switch, and what I was going to say was that I thought Donkey Kong Country Returns was extremely, extremely likely to come, and then of course in the Direct it got debunked that, well, not debunked, it got confirmed that happened, so I couldn't say it in this video and look really cool. So I just wanted to mention it here. Donkey Kong Returns did definitely get its Switch port, and I am glad that it will have a new chance and a new life. Next up is a very, very interesting one that I am not even sure if this series would ever come back. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is so fascinating to me. I really don't think that they would put it on the Switch, but at the same time, they also decided that they wanted to put the Wii U version of the game on the Switch, and all those games are pretty much the same anyways. But now that they're moving in this new direction with Wonder, I definitely feel that this game is not coming over to the Switch. This is going to stay on the 3DS where it belongs. New Super Mario Bros. 2, unlikely. So we've got another one here that I have been really talking about for a long time now. And I have got to tell you, Super Mario 3D Land is 1000% coming over to the Switch. And I can't believe that it has taken them this long to port this game, because it is just a money maker waiting to happen. It has just got to happen. The 8 worlds that the game provides, plus the 8 worlds after the game is already over, the platforming. I do understand why some people might say it's not going to make it because of the 3D slider effect and how that was so crucial to playing that game. So many people were like, oh my gosh, they would keep the slider off and they were like, oh man, I'm missing all my jumps because I can't see in 3D. But trust me, I think this game is going to be perfect on the Switch too, and it's just one of those games where it's like that 2018 year where all they really did was release a bunch of ports that people hadn't played a ton of before. The Switch install base is so large, and I'm sure that the Switch 2 is going to have so many people playing it as well, so it makes total sense, and it would actually make no sense at all if they didn't put it on the console to help fill in those months where they're putting out those new beefier releases, especially because the console is going to be so much more powerful and all of these games are going to take a lot longer to develop. They need to make sure that they're pumping out consistent quality, and 3D Land is the perfect game for them to do that with. The last game I want to talk about today is the Smash Brothers game for 3DS, and no, it's just unlikely. It's not happening. They did Smash Ultimate and put pretty much all of the content from 3DS into that game anyways, so the next Smash game will be totally unique, totally new to Switch 2, and it's going to have nothing to do with 3DS. It is unlikely for this game to make its way over to any Switch system. Well, that about wraps it up. I want to thank you so much for watching Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I pump out these videos once a week with shorts throughout the week and community tab polls every single day. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments on this video and the selections that I said were likely and unlikely. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day.